Yeah, health and safety is next. There was a health and safety forum this morning, I mentioned earlier. We just have a regular update to tell you what's going on with health and safety. So we're very fortunate to have Alan Jones from Springboard Safety here. So a warm round of applause, and you'll be glad to know we're not far away from the bar. So thanks, Alan.
We're almost there. Yeah, we had a good meeting. Again, we didn't have, I suppose this morning we could do more quantity. It'd be good if wouldn't mind seeing some plant owners, plant managers, certainly the people that work for them, the compliance managers. The more we can get in, the better. So we covered a couple of subjects, so we had more of a clear agenda. One of them that we had the opportunity to discuss was the PABIAC strategy for 2023 to 2027, although it's in a draft situation at the moment. But as something that I think the SPA members can certainly adapt to, because everything that I've read through the paper sort of applies to what I bang the drum about when I'm actually in with clients. So things about understanding, integrating human factors into health and safety. These are things about machine safety, other factors that cause accidents. The other one was accidents and incident investigation, which is another paper, another bit that's been done. Proactive and reactive mental health and well-being measures, psychological risk within your business, and implementing leading indicators. So we're talking about safety tours and management getting involved, which again is something that I'm quite keen to see in the businesses. So just a reminder, Tim reminded you earlier on what we are. The five-star health and safety audit is available. It's 38 compliance sections, 391 checks, and we're looking for somewhere around 70%. Some are better, so but around there. Let's see how we actually got on. So we launched this initiative 12 months ago. It's gone so quick. 11 SPA members have taken part in it. 9 took advantage of the free audit because they were converters. The good news is that we'll now be visiting them on the anniversary, so they're doing now and what they've taken on board. But if you look at the scoring system, 5 members within 80% range. So there's some good stuff happening within the membership, and 6 members within the 90% range. I'm just a little example there at the bottom. One of the SPA members have just had their 3rd audit, so they started this process before we launched it, and I don't know whether they mind who I say they are. They might do, but I don't know. They're happy there. It's well, it's SEGWORK, and in 21 we had a lowish score, which we fixed fairly quickly within 4 weeks. I think we were up in the 70s because it was just a couple of questions that we needed to tweak a little bit and adjust and get some actions on. So they were already, and then the following year 80%, and now they're at 91%. And I know we've got a little program arranged to get them up even higher, so it's been good. The team have bought into it right from the beginning. It's been led by Graham, and as you'd expect, and it's just really been a success there, and people participating. When we go back, we find some areas. Again, the PABIAC thing is going to cover this as well, but it's areas that we focus on, and we're looking at things like the PUA, risk assessments and machine safety. It's generally, I mean, people I don't think they quite grasp PUA, and some of the issues are, and we had a conversation this morning, how often do you actually go around with an engineer and open up that electrical panel? Because it's hidden, it's locked, hopefully. They don't. So, the key is that people start thinking, I suppose we should really go and see what's in there. But the second thing that happens from that is, do they know what they're looking for? So we work with a lot of people now. So they look at 60204, they look at cabinet audits, and they add that as part of their PUA. Health and safety training comes up, and communication from management and managing the health and safety program. The nice thing about the PABIAC one as well is that they're looking at a commitment from management to targets, sensible targets, but a commitment. And I think, from what I see, that lacks quite a bit. I had a meeting with the health and safety exec representative last week. She told me about what's going on. I know they work with the CPI quite closely anyway. But again, some of the things she said that they're looking for is they're into 2 now. They've got rid of the COVID group that they took on. They've sort of thinned down a bit. They're looking at 2 sections, investigation, which is a department that will look at if you have an issue or an accident, they'll be there, and compliance monitoring. Are you complying with what you legally need to do? So that's one of their focus. Machine safety comes under that. Supervisor management, training, COSH, health and safety responsibilities, management of systems. And they will serve notices and they will expect action plans back. I mean, they make that clear. So, and I've had dealings, I think, with 3 different ones over the last month. So they are out and about. So we talked briefly this morning about culture change. Again, I like what I read in the Pabiac because it sort of focuses on culture, something that I'm quite keen on. Why it fails, because we have a lack of management commitment. Often you have insufficient resources to do it. Big companies can do it, but it's not quite true. I mean, you have to think how you can manage it in a smaller company. Training and education, poor communication, inadequate risk assessments. I was in somewhere last week. They said HSE said this risk assessment is not good enough. What do you think? I said, it's not good enough. You know, we need to change it. And I showed them what it should look like. And they were like, oh, we didn't really realize, you know, we had to do all that. And that's an established business. And it was a bit scary sometimes. And lack of accountability. So what do? We set up the scope of the audit, which, again, is available to you all that if you haven't had it, or the anniversary if you have. Setting up cross-functional teams all helps steps to improve health and safety culture. Reviewing existing policies and procedures, workplace inspection, analysing incident accidents, again in the Pabiac commitment, review training and communication practices, external factors that affect it, why you can't do these things, and monitor and track as we go along. So you can contact Peter or myself out there at the bar. By all means, we're available. So one of the things I am allowed, I can indulge myself a little bit. I think Tim did give me permission for this. So I'm going to do an accident report with you. Please take it in a light sense. It's serious. I'm not even sure whether it's real, but it's an interesting accident report. So this was from a builder, who we'll call Bob, which is a good name, I think. And he was been written to by the company who asked him, further to your recent accident and subsequent injuries, we note that you've just put down the cause as bad planning and wondered if you could furnish us with a little bit more detail. So Bob wrote, further to your request for further explanation in subsection 3, please find further explanation. I was working alone on the 6th floor building and completed the work to find I'd left over bricks, which I found out later weighed slightly in excess of 250 kilos, but he found out later. So I decided rather than carry the bricks by hand to floor level, I decided to lower the bricks down to the ground using a barrel rope pulley. So I descended to the ground floor, carried the pulley and rope to the 6th floor, where I secured the pulley and rope, which I threaded through the pulley. I then went down 6 floors, so he's gone back down, tied the barrel to one end, hoisted it up to the 6th floor, I secured the other end with a peg in the ground. I then climbed back up to the 6th floor and loaded the bricks into the barrel. I then went down to the ground floor and gripped the rope as tight as I could with both hands to take the strain. Next, I kicked the securing peg out from the ground, holding the rope. You will note from the report form that I weigh 70 kilos and the load weighed 250 kilos. You will note that to my surprise, in a state of confusion, I forgot to let go of the rope to find myself ascending at a rapid rate of knots as the barrel hurtled towards the ground. At the vicinity of the 3rd floor, I met the barrel, which was descending at an equally similar impressive speed. This explains the crack of my head and the minor abrasions and broken collarbone, as explained in section 3 of the report form. I kept ascending only to stop him when my left hand and 2 knuckles wedged between the rope and the pulley. Fortunately, at this time, I was still able to hold on to the rope tightly, being 6 floors up and concerned. However, at about the same time the barrel hit the ground and the rusty bottom had disintegrated, depositing all the bricks. The barrel now weighed about 20 kilos, and I refer to my previous statement that I weighed 70 kilos. This took away the decision about working out how to get down as I started a rapid descent down the side of the building. In the vicinity of the 3rd floor, I met the barrel coming up This accounts for 2 fractured ankles and several lacerations on my legs. Then my luck seemed to change slightly after the encounter with the barrel, as I came to a stop in the middle of a pile of bricks, which accounted for the 2 fractured vertebrae. Unable to move, I gained my composure and let go of the rope and lay there, watching the empty barrel begin its journey towards me and eventually on top of me. This explains 2 broken legs. I hope this clarifies my explanation of bad planning, which is what it better don't do. The last one, indulge me with this one because we talked about the succession planning. This was an application for employment, the letters here. It's from somebody called Emmanuel Levy to an HR manager, and he said, I refer to the recent death of the technical manager at your company, and I'm hereby applying for the replacement of the deceased manager. Every time I apply for a job, I get a reply saying that there is no vacancy, but in this case, I have caught you red-handed. And you have no excuse because I even attend the funeral to make sure he was truly dead and buried before applying. Attached to my letter is a copy of my CV and his death certificate. Thanks for indulging me with that. On the health and safety side, come and see us. Thank you.